Yo, what's going on, guys? My name's Tom, and today I'm going to be bringing you a different kind of video. Basically, I'm going to be talking to some Halo players about current events as it pertains to MCC, and depending on how this video goes, if you guys do like this video, I can do more of these in the future. I have a lot of people who would probably be willing to come on and talk about Halo and maybe why they don't play anymore or what could change, and like I said, depending on how this goes, this could be a series. I don't really know yet, but basically, I was approached by Legitsky and LChedda8 asking me if I would be willing to partake in a round-robin type of discussion about MCC. And even though I'm probably the last person 343 would ever listen to or take advice from, if I could do my part, I'm gonna do my part because I love this franchise, I love you guys, and if I can help promote any type of positive change for this game, I'm gonna do it. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think about this type of video. This could be a series. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of people to talk to, and I could get opinions from different people, professionals, amateurs, Halo 2 players, Halo 3 players, people in different countries. I know a lot of people, so let me know in the comments. I apologize in advance about the length of the video. I know it's kind of long, but I will have timestamps in the video description. So yeah, enjoy. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to talk about here, obviously, is vanilla doubles, regens, bubble shield, shit like that. So the first question that I have here, though, is what's the whole premise behind the playlist coming back?
My first thing is, why was it taken out in the first place? It's been in there since day one of online Halo. It just doesn't make any sense. Your most popular playlist is taken out, especially when the low times in the game where no one else was playing, you could find games in team doubles and nothing else.
Yeah. I remember when the game first updated in September. I believe it was September, early September,
August,
and was it August? Okay, yeah, late August, early September, right. The first original ranked playlist for, I think, the first few days was the arena playlist, and then they added hardcore, and then they added vanilla doubles. And if I'm correct, I did speak with some insiders with some of the population data. I'm not going to say who or how, but I believe that ranked radar doubles placed number 5 in the top 10 at the very least for the most played playlists. So, I mean, the population was high enough to where we have friends who had 50s in the vanilla doubles playlist. I believe Bowser was one, Dress, Kawadi, Avoided. If multiple people could get 50s, clearly there wasn't a population.
Also, I think that Flazing got it while it was still on the Insider.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
All right, so doubles has been a playlist on Halo 3 360. First of all, that was one of the few playlists that had a population even throughout its dead years, than like as far as like 2014 before MCC came out, and that was like one of the top playlists that was streamed. And Evader streamed MLG, and they kind of went hand in hand. Pretty much the same thing went on with MCC when it was dead. Like doubles was streamed, and Evader was always streaming hardcore. He was like, literally, that playlist was so dead you would not find a game if Evader wasn't streaming.
I agree. The next question as it pertains to doubles is Halo 3 as it stands right now. So I can't speak for the future, but as of right now, there is 4 out of 7 ranked playlists that are Halo 3. So if vanilla doubles does make a return, in your guys' opinion, what should be done with hardcore doubles? Should you remove it? Should you keep it? Should you have both?
Personally, I believe that hardcore doubles should have been removed at least a few weeks to a few months after the Atlanta event back in November. And my reasoning for that is because the focus of the hardcore 2v2 playlist was for players to prepare for the Atlanta event, which at the time was seen as sort of throwing a bone to the MCC community for their continued support of the game and the game being updated. Because 343 didn't have any vested interest in a major Halo 3 event. I mean, the hardcore 2v2 event was barely broadcasted. They only broadcasted the semifinals up to the finals, I believe.
Yep.
So because 4v4 is now the competitive layout once again, 2v2 to me just seems like something you play at Microsoft stores for a 1-year subscription for Xbox Game Pass.
LChedda8 and Bowser. Bowser was actually the first MLG 2v2 50. So Team Hardcore 50. And Chedda was, I think, the one playing with them. Keep that in mind. Like, these are some of the first 50s in the playlist, and they're campaigning for radar doubles to come back.
Exactly. I completely agree. ATL has come and gone. We're on to 4v4s. I say take out the hardcore 2v2 playlist, maybe make it rotational in the future, and bring back radar doubles, because the population who really want to play 2v2, I want to say 95% of them are vanilla players. They're not the hardcore players. The hardcore players are in the 4v4.
On a popular night, Friday night, Saturday night, you can find matches. Any other night of the week, I can search for 15, 20, 30, maybe an hour, all radar kids.
All right, so I would like to see the hardcore 2v2 playlist removed, because that is supposed to get people ready for the little Microsoft Store tournaments, but those aren't like widely available to every Halo player. Like there's no Microsoft Store near me. I mean,
Closest Microsoft store to me is in Kansas City, 3 hours away. The amount of money
Yeah.
I would spend on gas to play in that tournament, I could just go buy a controller or a 1-year and just... What is the benefit for me going to those tournaments to try to win something that has very little monetary value, which would take time out of my weekend and money out of my pocket just to get there?
yeah, and people like to argue that radar doubles is like takes no skill or is just more casual side, but I mean I could go off on an argument that would say that that takes more skill than MLG, but that's not the playlist. I mean that's not where I want to go, and people like to make the argument to combat why radar doubles shouldn't be ranked, but
Well, see, and
I don't-
that's actually my next point that I was going to talk about here is vanilla settings are often regarded or referred to as quote-unquote less competitive. It's like a condescending sort of attitude where like they're all like, it's vanilla, it's ARs, it's bubble shields, no one likes that shit. What would you say, what would you guys say to people who share that opinion?
I would
Look
say
back to the
that
360 days. You look back to the 360 days, you had pros like Nated, you had pros like Ninja. Why would it be any different now?
I think as far as the competitive sense goes, personally, I feel that if you look at ranked radar doubles specifically, there is such a broad plethora of game types, and there's such a broad plethora of maps to play. There's such a dynamic element to the playlist. How could it not take a tremendous amount of skill to master all the maps, to master all the game types across the board? You know, I understand, you know, the movement and the damage output from the BR is different from vanilla to hardcore, but it isn't such a massive difference that the games play completely different. The settings absolutely do take skill. You can look back to some of the who are regarded as some of the best online players to play the game. They all were radar doubles players.
Yep.
Or at least a large portion of them were radar doubles.
Yep, Iced Out, Dominator, Corrects.
B11, Metal X. I
Yep.
mean, we could go on all day. We could literally name drop all day. And it's very hard to argue that these players were not highly skilled at the game at the very least. I mean, they dominated the leaderboards. They dominated the matchmaking scene.
Iced Out had 14 50s. He had 14 registered 50s. That's
I
probably
mean-
the best account ever, honestly.
Truly, really, genuinely, truly. It was a 2007 account, too. He didn't make a new account and just stat pad. I mean, this is the first account he played on. Keep that in mind.
hardcore playlists make up probably, I don't know, 10% of MCC's population. So majority of the population on MCC don't play hardcore settings,
Right.
and they're catering more the ranked playlist towards the hardcore players who are only on this game because Halo 5 is dead.
Like the one thing I will say about MLG is it's more fair because there's less variables involved. Static spawns, there's less of a sandbox. You don't have to worry about ARs or needlers, less maps. The problem with that is when you start reducing the variables in a game, it gets boring. And from a viewer's perspective, I have significantly more fun watching radar doubles and the crouchy nature of that because it's just much more intense than not having a radar. Personally,
That's exactly
I
what
prefer
I'm
radar.
getting to. If it's hardcore you're looking for, that's just the type of person you are. You want to start with a BR, not a secondary. You
Yep.
want to have sniper rockets and maybe an overshield. But if you are a completely competitive person who wants to get any advantage you can, you're taking every aspect of the game that it was made for, one match where it's 2 people versus 2 people to see who's better. How do you get more competitive than that? And people get angry about it because, oh, it's radar, it's crouchy. Much more to it, and that's why when you have top tier players, it's so much harder to get that rank 50 because there's so many other variables that you have to account for that people just don't want to take the time to learn.
And I just want to say that the person speaking right now, LChedda8, you were one of the first MLG Team Hardcore 2v2 Halo 3 50s in the game. You and Bowser. Bowser was number 1. You were 1A, 2, whatever it was. This is coming from him, someone who had a 50 in both radar and non-radar. So I think that that's very important, and that should be stated for the record.
He also has
and I'm
like
not
5
saying-
accounts with like almost level 40s just because he can't find games on his 50.
There's that too, right? The majority of people playing this game are playing vanilla settings. When you go into social, you're playing with radars, you're playing with ARs, warthogs. Not that there's warthogs and doubles, but you're playing with the entire sandbox. It's much easier and more accessible for a new player or like an average player to jump into radar doubles because they feel more at home. the entire arsenal of weapons is there for them. But when they jump into an MLG match and they spawn with the battle rifle and there's no radar, it's just radar doubles is a staple of Halo. It has been in Halo 2, Halo 1 obviously, Halo 3, I guess Halo 4 and Reach. I didn't really play those games, but the original trilogy doubles is like the most popular playlist, period. I don't see why the playlist wouldn't be reintroduced. It should have never been removed in the first place. That's the problem. Like Legitsky said, that 2v2 MLG should have only been for that event. Fantasy and Gabriel won it. It should have never lasted this long. The Microsoft 2v... If people want to practice for that, play customs.
Absolutely. Like you said, strictly from the standpoint viewing doubles from the past, it always has been a staple playlist, like you said. And by removing it, you're fundamentally changing the playlist offerings that Halo 3 has always had, that people have always enjoyed. You know, what's next? Do you take out Halo 3 Arena so people can't play Radar 4v4? Or do you take out BTB? These are fundamental changes to the way people want to play the game that are being made. Like you said, Radar Doubles is just so accessible due to you only needing 4 players total to make a lobby, and the settings being accessible to everyone. I mean, the maps literally, you play literally almost every single map you could possibly think of that isn't a BTB map. If you play Radar Doubles, regardless of being a casual player or a competitive player, you will play something that you like. Whether it's BR Starts on Guardian or Oddball on Ghost Town, King of the Hill on Cold Storage, Bones and Masood, you're going to play something that you enjoy, so it has a very broad appeal for that reason.
Absolutely. So I guess the last point that I want to talk about, vanilla Halo 3 doubles, the reintroduction of that. Given the amount of variables in vanilla settings, parties of 2 are going to be much more likely to be difficult to beat while searching solo. Like right now, if you search by yourself and you match a team of 2 in MLG doubles, I feel like the match is a little bit easier to win. It's more winnable than to match a good party 2 in radar doubles. So I guess the question is, should parties of 2 match their equivalent in ranked 2v2s?
I don't think it should be an opportunity. When you're above a certain threshold, it should not be allowed. But at the same time, you have matches where like Cody transferred, searched by himself, got a random on his teammate, and beat 2 professionals.
Yeah,
for that.
I've seen that video. So
I saw that on YouTube. Yeah.
I mean,
but if you're level 30 or below, it would make more sense, because if you're confident enough to go and search 1s and get a party of 2 and match them, there's less likelihood of them being really good and you lose.
Correct.
Say level 40 plus, I assume that everyone at that level is good enough that when they're communicating, they are going to beat any random team searching.
Well, as it stands right now, once you hit level 30, you match level 50s. So that's how it is in 2s and 4s. So pretty much what you're suggesting is level 1 through 30, or 1 through 29, actually. You can match anybody. 2s can match 1s. But once you hit level 30 and above, 2s match 2s, 1s match 1s.
That would make the most sense to me.
I can get on board with that. With that because
I agree.
In 2v2s, it does take more skill, I think, to get up past the level, past the level 20s and get up to into the 30s. You know, in Arena, if you search 50, Tommy Gus, because you know this, I know you've been playing a little bit of Arena here and there.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you can attest to this, where if you do search 3s, you will get that occasional random on your team that is in their 30s. And they will be an absolute anchor sometimes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, I've had kids who I had a kid the other night. I was playing with my friend Steven RG95, and we were searching 2s and 3s in Arena, and we had a teammate who was a 37 in Arena, who had a negative KD, and who went like 2 and 16 in one of the games we played on our team.
There's nothing you could do. I mean, and
exactly.
I was playing social doubles. This is a while ago. This is a couple months ago, but I was searching with the sighting, and we matched Bowser and Astro, which I believe is Digital Sniper. And I think we lost like 6 games in a row, 5 or 6 games in a row or whatever. You know, but the games were all close. They weren't like really blowouts or anything like that. An example like that, even though we lost the games were close. Stuff like that is how the games should look. They should always be good competitive games, fair games, which they were all fair. That's how the game should operate. It should never get to a point where, say, LChedda8 and Legitsky are searching, and you know Slim Haley is by himself and he has an anchor on his team, and the game ends 25-8. That should never be a thing. The game should always be fair. I mean, and again, I'm not saying that you can't 25-8 a good team, because you can. But what I am saying is party matching is very important, especially in a playlist like team doubles. You know, in the higher ranks anyway.
Like as far as matching solos, I don't think that should have ever been a thing. The game, I believe they when they came out with the update, they had party matching, strict party matching. If you were searching solo, you were gonna match nothing but solos, and that was amazing because I could search solo. I was searching like in the teens, and I would always get someone in game chat with the mic, and it was like FA Sniper, or even some other people I've never heard of. And while this goes for any playlist, like I don't know why they removed party matching. Like hardcore right now is just team of threes searching. Like team of threes is the new team of fours searching and just beating up on people searching twos or solo, and it's really unfair. It makes people not want to play the game, and the only way you want to play is by searching threes, and that usually you don't get good games. You're either blowing people out, they're quitting, and it's just not fun for the game. I mean, they could make 343 can make the argument that there's not enough people to support the game, but if you put in party matching, like I would want to play hardcore.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
more people would want to play instead of matching teams all the time, and it's like it's hard to get people on to play certain playlists.
And doesn't that also encourage smurfing, which is a whole different issue that I'm going to talk about in probably a different video, but doesn't that encourage making brand new accounts?
Yeah, I have a Smurf of myself in a arena to search, and like I only use that to like warm up or play when I don't have anybody to play with. I'll match nothing but teams of threes, and I'll get like a bunch of low level 30s on my team, and we'll get blown out by the level like the team of threes, and it's just unfair.
Yeah, I guess we'll just segue right into that then. Speaking of party restrictions, searching in parties of 3 has become the new meta, so to speak, for ranked playlists. So, should parties of 3 match their equivalent in 4v4 ranked playlists?
I think for 4v4 ranked playlists, I think it's totally possible. I think there could be a decent enough population for the 2 4v4 playlists that I'm thinking of, Halo 3 Arena, Halo 3 Hardcore. I can't say that for H2 Hardcore, and I can't say that for H2A Hardcore, simply because I personally feel that the playlists have too low of a population. But for the 2 big ones, the 2 heavy hitters, I think it's possible. It would encourage more competitive games, and truly the issue with the party matching to begin with on this update was the fact that it didn't really work at first.
No.
That was the big issue. I mean, there was an exploit where if you searched threes for long enough, back when there was party matching for 3v3s in August and September, if you searched for long enough without finding a match, I would say 5 minutes, you would match ones and twos, even though the game wouldn't allow you to initially.
Well, there was an issue with the backfilling, and what had happened was when the update dropped in August of 2018, I was searching by myself, and I matched Guns Reloaded, and he had a team of 4. And I know he did because right when I matched him, I went to his stream.
Yeah, I saw that.
The first thing I did was I sent Possums a message, and I said, hey man, this isn't working, and he told me it was. I had nothing to go off of. So.
And you know what? I really do truly think too. I think that 343 implementing a way for 3v3s to be possible, like it was on the original Halo 3, that would solve a lot of issues too with 3s matching each other.
Absolutely.
I truly believe that. Having the option to downsize the lobby from 8 players to 6 was to me it's a truly missed feature. It really is. And I think that would open up the opportunity for people to be encouraged to search threes and not be worried about having a bad random on their team. Let's say you could search threes, match another team of 3, lock in at 3v3 if possible. I mean, then there's no excuses. The 3v3 dynamic actually changes how a lot of maps are played.
100%, yeah. Especially objective too. I mean, there's a lot of things that the 3v3 dynamic should do. I think that's a great point. That's something I wasn't even going to talk about or bring up because I just forgot about it. But yeah, I mean, locking in at 3v3, 2 parties of 3, that'd be awesome. I mean, even if it's not parties of 3, just locking at 3v3, that would be great. I've been in so many lobbies where it would try to find those 2 players and they couldn't do it. And it would take forever, and sometimes the search would restart. So that's a great dynamic. That's a feature that should have happened. I don't know why it didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Smaller lobby sizes should be able to lock in, regardless of the playlist, 3v3, 4v4, whatever, even in like larger playlist sizes like 8v8 and stuff. It would be, this is totally off topic, but for 8v8 playlists, for like even in the match composer sometimes for less populated Halo games like Halo 2 BTB or CE BTB, if you could lock in 6v6, 7v7, that would be hugely beneficial for lower populated playlists.
Yeah, that's a game changer right there.
So that would make big differences, I think, in the MCC landscape for matchmaking to offer that option.
I think you're just taking out one less variable. I think if you have 4v4, 3v3, 2v2, and 1s, that's just adding up your variables. It's going to be longer search times. If you bring it down to 3, you make a party of 3 rather than a party of 4. You match each other. You need less people. It's only going to save you time. It's going to make matchmaking more efficient.
But do you think that parties of 3 should only match their equivalent?
I think if 3v3 is the max, then yes.
Slim?
Yeah, I agree with everything Legitsky said. He said it best.
100%. So the next the next little bullet point here that I have that LChedda8 was talking about. So Lone Wolves was recently removed, right? However,
Yeah.
50s consistently match players outside of the 30 to 50 range. This is pretty fucking obvious because I think the first person who got it was Voiditz, right? Am I right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
I saw a screenshot, I think Flazen showed me, that he was matching level 1s at 49. If ranks don't function in ranked FFA playlist, then what's the point of the ranked FFA playlist?
Exactly. You know, and the point I want to bring up, Tommy, is the recent inclusion of MMR to
Yes.
Halo MCC.
And
And if you
social.
guys understand exactly in social, if you guys understand how that works, then basically what it means is that the game prioritizes matching you against players who are of a more similar skill to you. So if you did search the social match composer in FFA, for example, and there were sweatier players searching, like montagers or, you know, people trying to warm up, I saw like Guns Reloaded searched social FFA, and he matched up against Munoz and Ishivids and I think Eli X in his
Oh,
lobby
wow.
in a social game. You know, like you said, that what's the point then of the playlist being ranked if you can't match your equivalent in rank? You know, even in the MLG FFA playlist currently, the playlist that has replaced Lone Wolves, it's still the same rank matching system where you don't match people of equivalent rank. You can still match level 1s all the way up through your 40. And this is something that Avoided, who is actually currently almost a 50 in that playlist right now, he can tell me right now that he is matching players all the way down in the single digits in
Wow.
their rank still.
And see, that's unacceptable. And to just kind of piggyback off what you said, isn't that technically splitting the population by having that?
I would say so.
Because, I
In
mean,
my opinion.
the playlist it's not even working. So what the fuck's the point of having it if it doesn't work?
I mean, if
Literally, it's only a grind for people who are so focused on getting as many 50s as they want. The people who play it for more than 5 games and get bored, they completely throw it aside, and it's a wasted playlist.
yeah, no,
not-
I agree.
Could not agree more.
MLG free-for-all lobbies are not hard to slap together. People have been doing it in Halo 2, for example, for years
All the
and years
time.
and years and years, all the time.
Still happens.
No different in Halo 3. If the playlist, like Tommy said, is not necessarily fully functional, what's the point of having it as a ranked playlist? You could make it as a social match composer option,
Yes.
and the niche population of people who want to practice for the Dallas free-for-all can go play it there. And I want to make a quick point that my friend Steven RG95 was making, and he wanted me to plug this point. He said that taking out Lone Wolves and then adding another non-functional FFA playlist that is in MLG settings, it really is just pandering towards the hardcore community even more, and which is, you know, alienating the population of non-hardcore players or vanilla players, whatever you want to call them, because you're throwing just another hardcore playlist in the mix, you know, for a ranked hardcore playlist that isn't functional. It's to me just splitting the population up further between the playlists.
It's also circling back to that new and exciting randomness that we get from fans of the game rather than actual players. If you have MLG pros that are playing and people enjoy watching them, they don't even play the game, they just like watching. They're going to put their vote to watch those hardcore playlists, and they have no intention of playing the game. So you're getting 3 to 4 times more votes for those hardcore playlists from people who have no intention of playing the game, just so that they can have that opportunity to watch their pro players play, which is fine, but it just sways all the data to hardcore and takes all of the radar portion away.
You have to consider how many active players really do watch pro streams. When you look at like Lethal or Snipedown, who's streaming with 300 viewers, how many of them are, really active players? And when I say active, I mean playing
I would
few
say
days
maybe
a week.
I would say maybe 10% of his viewers.
Yeah.
And this just circles back to the what playlist should be incorporated into the matchmaking system. How do we not just put Halo 3 doubles back into the mix and just gather that data? And yes, it might not be popular as I think it's going to be, but I'm like 95% sure that if you throw that back in the mix, you are going to get the game in probably years who quit because their playlist was taken out coming back to the game.
It'll definitely be
Right.
populated. There's no doubt about that.
I truly believe so, yeah. It would have a very steady population.
This is just going on H2A hardcore playlist and the H2C hardcore playlist, and I know those playlists are like extremely dead. H2C, I know there's a team of 4 that searches every other night, but I think they like pick teams and search, and they're like in the high 40s somehow. And granted, I like Halo 2 hardcore, like I play Halo 2 as well, but I don't think that playlist would have a more population than Halo 3 team doubles or even H2A hardcore. Like those are just wasted playlists. It's a ghost town. Those playlists are extremely dead, and I don't see
And just
anyone
to
getting a
piggyback
high
off that,
rank on that.
like individuals that are Halo 3 primary players, we took the time to search in that playlist to try to rank up in it. Once you get to level 14, you can't get matches. Teams of 2, teams of 3, there is nothing. There is no population, but it continues to stick around.
I mean, I would say at least remove H2A hardcore because that game has almost nobody.
H2A
Completely wrong.
hardcore, you couldn't find you could get like 8 level 1 searching and you still wouldn't find a match.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
H2C, a week after launch, second
yeah,
day when we were playing it, we could not find anyone above level 10.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have friends who have multiple level 10 alt accounts in H2C hardcore, level 10 plus, simply because they love playing it. And I played with them. I played with them on multiple occasions, and you could find games below level 10, but after that, it's just you got to make a new account, start all over. I mean, what kind of playlist have we seen like that before? It's almost
Correct.
unprecedented seeing
No,
a
yeah,
playlist that
yeah.
dead.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, even hardcore, for example, Halo 3 hardcore, it's like under 30, you can't really find matches. I mean, during
Yeah.
peak hours you can, but during like the weekdays, forget about it. As far as rotational playlists go, we've had rotational playlists, but they've been primarily social. So, what if any quote unquote ranked rotational playlists would you guys want to see?
I say just to lay a baseline, there should be playlists that are not rotational. And the ones that are included in there are Team Slayer 4s with radar, MLG 4s, 3 team doubles.
But
Yeah,
what,
okay.
but if you had to pick a ranked rotational playlist that you'd want to see introduced, obviously you want to have the baseline. You definitely want to have that. You have to have that. But what would you want to see return as maybe a weekend or like a week or a monthly playlist? Like I know Legitsky was referencing, he wants to see like monthly playlists introduced. So what would be something that you would play?
Me personally, I would like to see rotational playlists in the ranked variety, the MLG free for all, ranked big team battle, ranked 2v2 hardcore doubles, for example, too. You could throw in more obscure playlists too if you really wanted, like ranked snipers, for example. I know a lot of people have been asking for ranked snipers, and if you made it a rotational playlist, you would have flocks of original snipers players coming back who either don't play or only play customs, and hardcore sweaty kids, both from the MLG community, the radar community, all coming in to play ranked snipers to find some competition in that playlist. You could even maybe pander to the SWAT community and do a ranked SWAT playlist. I don't think I would play that, but ranked BTB, hardcore doubles, even radar doubles potentially. Let's say in the off chance, the very off chance that ranked radar doubles doesn't have a sustainable population, if it was a rotational playlist, it would easily be the most popular rotational playlist, in my opinion. If it was a monthly playlist that came in once every few months, totally, absolutely would have a higher population than the majority of the playlists I've suggested, including ranked BTB, including ranked snipers, including ranked MLG free-for-all. I think those should all be niche rotational playlists, aside from ranked double.
I agree with Team Snipers, Team SWAT, Big Team Battle ranked. They would be great for rotational because when the population starts to die, you take them away, you bring them back, you reintroduce them, people start playing them again. And even Team Objective, one of the throwbacks. They worked on the original Xbox 360. Why wouldn't they work now?
Is this all Halo 3? Because I mean, again, the MCC obviously you have multiple games. You have Halo 1, Halo 2, Anniversary, Halo 4. Obviously, we understand that those games aren't nearly as popular or populated on MCC, but would you be for having maybe like a Halo 2 doubles come? Rotational? I mean, there's different things you can do. I mean, I don't know if you guys would be okay with that. I mean, because obviously we're talking about Halo 3 here, and I would say most of the people who are watching this video, my channel, your guys' Twitches, or whatever the fuck you guys have, they want Halo 3. That's it. But
Yeah.
there are people who do like Halo 1 and 2 as well. So, I mean, would you guys would you guys object to that? I mean,
No.
When you are running a company, this is 100% what you need to do is you need to gather that data, and that's the precise reason for rotationals. You take those random obscure playlists, you introduce them for a set period of time, and you gather that data. And over time, you're going to have different playlists, different Halo games, Halo 2, 3, 4, and you take that data and say, hey, we had 100,000 people playing Halo 3 where we only had 15,000 playing Halo 2. And things start to add up, and then you figure out how to make a successful game. It just doesn't seem like we're willing to go through that rotational.
Yeah,
So,
you're
like,
correct.
the fact that you can't incorporate that into a game, like, you can take any game in the industry right now, and if you incorporate a change that all the fans hate, why would you you take it out of the game? You patch it, you make it better, you keep improving, you keep progressing until you have the game that everyone wants to play. So I don't see why that would be any different for a rotational program. Throw that H2 hardcore, or see if people like
Ranked
it. If
Halo
they
4
play
5v5
bring
too.
it back. Yeah, just
bring it back for like a weekend or a week or a month or whatever. I mean, I think a bi-weekly rotational playlist would be pretty good.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Because for some playlists, a month can be a stretch. A playlist can die in a couple of weeks. A playlist could die in a week.
Yeah.
So bi-weekly, I think, would be totally fine. It would keep things fresh too. People tend to have short-term memories, so obviously, some people will come in, they'll play a playlist, they'll get bored, they'll want to play something. You know what I mean? They'll totally forget that the playlist is there, even if it's sitting there. Limited time only. People will be like,
And
1 week old.
Another thing too is also to provide an incentive for, if they did introduce ranked rotational playlists, to provide an incentive, because most people, they're gonna grind these playlists, they're gonna get their 50, they might screenshot it, they might brag about it on Twitter or Instagram or whatever the fuck they post on. Maybe introduce something like nameplates. Like, why not give someone a custom nameplate for, if say you introduce, I don't know, MLGFFA, and for the if the ranks work and you get a 50 in that, maybe give them a nameplate. Or maybe give someone who completes 500 games in a rotational playlist, maybe give them a nameplate. Give people some type of incentive, even if it's something as small as a nameplate or gamer picture or icon, or just something to kind of provide an incentive outside of a rank, outside of a number, because we don't have a Bungie.net. We don't have really anything to track our stats anymore. I mean, Halo.Bungie.net was fucking great. I'm sure you guys all know that. But we don't have that anymore. So there's nothing to keep me playing. And we're going to talk about a progression system later, but there's nothing to keep me playing the game. So after 50, what is there?
Nothing. You're just playing for fun at that point. Playing for GGs.
Right.
That's all it is. Like you said, no Bungie, no Halo tracker, no Halo charts, no leaderboards, no, I want to say tracking of progression. There's no incentive. It's just players just play games at this point. It's almost mindless. You're just mindlessly playing games with no real incentive other than getting a 50. And then after that, like you said, what are you doing? You're just playing to play. I mean, the fact that the primary stats on a player's profile is their KD ratio, essentially, like their kills, their deaths, their assists, one is, to me, kind of stupid, because it's just, is that all you play for then at that point? You just play for your KD,
and it wasn't
or your
even
win-loss?
reset. It wasn't even reset with the August update. So what's the point? I mean, it carried over from a completely social game to a kind of sort of social game. So your KD doesn't even fucking matter at this point.
Yeah. And to me, it never did, because
no.
Never mattered. So it's just, what are you playing for? You're really playing for nothing. There's not enough to track stats. There's just not enough, there's not enough data out there for players to look at to want to keep playing.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the nameplates, that they recently came out with nameplates for they had get so many headshots on grunts and whatever. And I was thinking maybe they made it way too easy to unlock the nameplate, the MCC Insider nameplates. I barely played MCC Insider, and then I got that special MCC Insider nameplate, and they were saying if you dedicate a lot of time into the Insider, you'll get this nameplate. And I probably played 3 hours and I got the nameplate somehow, and I was thinking, why was it that easy to get the nameplate?
Yeah.
And they need to make the nameplates harder to get, that it'll make people want to play more, something with so many wins, or nameplates dedicated to ranks in the 50s. Maybe
you know what I just thought of too?
A general nameplate.
Why would you do it on a one-off playlist that is there for less than a month, when you could put it on this goal that is hard, where you have to beat pros in MLG 4s, where if you get your rank 50, you could be proud that you have this this nameplate next to your name.
I just thought of that. Why not introduce a fucking general nameplate? When you get a 50, why not have a little fucking general next to your name? That'd be fucking sweet.
Yeah, and maybe you get a better nameplate with the more wins you get, because I know there's you can't lock in your 50 on MCC. You win 100 games on it, and you quit 3 of them, and your 50's gone.
Yeah, you know what the worst part is too, is people who have B11. Okay, I think everyone in this chat can agree that who's talking that B11 is probably the best Halo player they played online, just generally.
In the past 9 years, he's probably number one.
I would say he's the best. I would say he's the best. This guy got a 50 in Halo 3 Lone Wolves. He was one of the first 50s in it. That's the only real ranked playlist he played. When they took it out, he was a level 10. You know what I mean? It's like they just took it away. There's no record of him ever having that 50.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
It's bullshit. Like, I mean, come on, man. Give the guy a nameplate so that he can at least rep that. I mean, I know it doesn't mean anything. 11. I know he doesn't care, but you know, for players of that ilk who played that one playlist, got their 50, and then it gets taken out, and then they have nothing left, throw them a bone, you know?
But I don't know if it was Chedda or Slim who said that, but what about giving players a nameplate for just a baseline amount of wins? Say 10,000 wins overall. It could be any playlist, whatever. It would give people the incentive to play. Like, if I win 10,000 games, I get this super ultra cool nameplate that nobody else has, or like the top 0.1% of players have. People would love that shit.
And it would give them motivation to play on a main tag rather than switch around.
Yes, 1,000%.
Once you reach level 50, you have something that you're going towards. You're like, oh, I already committed 500 games. But like, I'm obviously not going to start a new tag to try to get this nameplate when it's this unobtainable goal. So it gives me motivation to keep playing on that high rank. And then that helps like the community in general, because you're going to find more games because they're going towards this nameplate while the others might be going towards their 50, and it just keeps the games going.
Absolutely.
100% true. You don't have players playing in. You don't have like one player playing in a broad range of highest skill searches. Like, you know, guys like Bowser, for example. Like Bowser's probably played on like 100 accounts.
My God, yes.
Since MCC came out.
Yeah.
Imagine if he had one main account. You know, because he didn't. This dude's playing at all ranges of ranks from level 1 through 50 on multiple accounts. You know, and it's just you have a lot of players like even Renzo. Look at Renzo. Renzo has like 5 accounts he plays on. He doesn't even play on a main account.
I mean, obviously, you're still going to have the montage community, the people who want to go for clips. They're going to be on Smurfs. They don't give a fuck about that. But the people who actually care are going to be playing on one account. The people who want those cool nameplates and those cool achievements are going to be on different accounts. The one account, sorry.
And for anyone watching that may think that we're all just kind of coming from one skewed viewpoint, you know, look at me and Slim. Slim and I are completionists. Slim and I both have 100% of the achievements on MCC. So we grinded the campaign. We played the campaign.
Cool.
Yeah, both of us do.
That's
and
cool.
You know, this is not really that important. But back to the whole nameplate thing with the whole 100%ing the game. You don't even get a nameplate for getting all the achievements. You know. So
that's fucking that's sick. That makes me sick to my stomach thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys should have definitely been compensated for doing that, because if you guys complete the game, what do you have to show for it outside of the 100% completion on your profile?
A couple of obscure nameplates that someone who has 50% of the campaign could have too. Yeah. So that's it. Like the lasso nameplates, those are quite rare. Beating the one campaign on Legendary with all the skulls on, someone could have like 10% of the achievements and have that nameplate still. You know, so it doesn't speak for progression, and that's kind of how that does tie in with the nameplates in matchmaking. It doesn't account for progression. They don't account for progression in any way, shape, or form. So it goes both ways. It goes for the campaign guys. It goes for the matchmaking guys. It comes full circle. It really does.
I think I speak for everybody that everybody wants some type of progression system, EXP, whatever it may be. Everybody wants to feel like everyone wants that validation for their time. Like when you spend time doing something, you want to feel validated. That's why games like World of Warcraft are so great, because it's a fucking tedious grind of a game, but when you do something, you feel like you're accomplished. And it's the same thing with Halo. It's like you can just give someone a nameplate for getting 100 wins or 200 wins or 500 wins or 1,000 wins. People are going to like that. People are going to rock the nameplate and they're going to be proud of it. So I think that's something that they could do in the short term that would please players. So I think that's something they could do right now before they introduce EXP or like whatever they're planning. I don't know what they're planning to do, but that's something they could do right now.
Did you want to talk about
360? Just look at 360 and 5-star generals.
Yep.
You had people 250s with 5-star generals in the playlist would consistently search just to show off that they had accomplished that and to get as much experience as they could.
When you saw a 55-star on 360 in any playlist, you knew that you were going to be in for a game. So,
yeah, you had guys like literally it stood for something, you know, at one point. You know, like guys like pros, for example. Pros would have 55 stars in MLG, or like the best matchmaking kids like Ulrich, for example, or Fantasy and Fearless.
I mean, he had the most MLG XP. I mean, fucking Dominator had 9,000 doubles XP. I mean, B11 had a lot of doubles XP. Arcadia Vixit had the most Slayer XP I've ever seen. 10,000. I don't know what the fuck yet, but he had a lot.
Yeah, 11, 12. Yeah,
he had a lot.
He had a lot. He had a lot, and it meant something. It truly did mean something. It wasn't just a show of someone being a nerd or just playing the game. It didn't mean you just played the game.
Oh,
it meant you played at a certain level, played at a high level.
And you can't just say things like, oh, it doesn't matter, this is so far along, this is so far gone. We have MCC coming to PC, whether it's in the next month, whether it's in the next year, and we need to solve some of these issues on the 360, or not on the 360, on the Xbox One. It may just be 4 people sitting in a chat talking about things that annoy us, but we have grinded for years and know what needs to be fixed, and we know what is popular and what keeps people coming back to play.
100%.
It's not just our opinions wanting to play Halo 3 ranked dubs, it's us trying to improve the game so that it lasts. And once we go to PC, we're going to keep playing it, and we want to make sure that other people keep playing it.
That's a great point you raised, Chedda, because PC is going to be the opportunity for 343 to share MCC with the world. This is going to be a whole new player base that's going to come back for the sake of nostalgia or to try something new. And I'll be damned if they release MCC in an incomplete state or an insufficient state and alienates a whole different population of players. This is what's going to set up the success for Halo Infinite being a cross-platform game, being on PC and for Xbox. So these are changes that need to be implemented because there's not going to be a lasting population the way it's going to be a repeat of everything that's happened on the console version of MCC. It's just going to be deja vu,
I want to segue into the next point, which is dodging, right? Because dodging just came back, right? I made a video in 2015, I think, about dodging, because dodging was such a fucking issue back then. Everybody and their mother did it, but dodging's back, and as Chedda alluded to, if you dodge at like 20%, like the loading bar, if you dodge like really early, you don't get banned, and I don't think it affects your rank. Given that dodging is back, what should be done, if anything? And how hard should it penalize your rank? But honestly, what should be done about it? Like, what do you guys propose?
So just to reiterate that what Tommy was saying, in any playlist, if you are searching and you match someone, if you dodge initially in the game when it's before 1/3 of the bar is out and before half, you won't lose your rank and you won't be penalized with a ban. That's essentially how it works today. Anything after that, yes, you get a 5-minute ban, but I don't think that affects your rank even.
And keep in mind, guys, this is May 6th of 2019 that this video is being made. This conversation is taking place May 6th, 2019. We cannot account for things that happen a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but as of right now, dodging does work. So what do you guys think should happen?
It affects the game in general. It affects matchmaking because those people that stay in the game are affected. You're going to have less people in the game. One team's going to get an automatic loss. The other's going to get a win. Penalize them.
Do you think it should be a ban? Do you think it should be a rank loss? What do you think it should be? And how hard should ranks be penalized?
I don't think it should be a ban. I don't think it should be a ban because then you're going in the opposite direction. You're killing your own population again. Take losses away from their ranking.
How many losses would you say per dodge?
3. Make it the same as a quit. You guys remember on Halo 3 360, if you searched, when you loaded into a match, if you dashboarded in the menu, it would count as a loss. You would get an EXP penalty, and it would count as a loss.
It would count as a loss if your team lost. If your team won, you'd get the win, but you still lost EXP. So it discouraged you from dodging because you didn't want to ruin your record.
Exactly. So there was an EXP penalty, but but it was generally an off chance that your team would win. Like Chedda said, you create these balanced team. So
yeah,
1000%.
So if you did disconnect at that point, whether it was intentional or not, you were very likely going to receive a penalty in the form of a loss and an EXP, a loss of EXP as well, an EXP deduction. So on MCC, the second the lobby loads in and it locks, the lobby is locked, you can't back out, you can't do anything. If you dodge, it should be a penalty in the same way, in the same vein, where it counts as however many losses. I think 3. If it's 3 losses for quitting, it should be 3 for dodging, in my opinion.
And I take back what I say about the ban, because you're going to have people that they're going to quit out just constantly to like match streamers and be annoying. So like make it progressive where if you dodge 3 times or if you quit out of games 3 times or multiple times within a set period, then give the ban. Don't give it a 1 quit out ban that just prevents you from playing and then you have to switch to an alt account to keep playing.
If there's I don't know what kind of EXP progression system they have planned. To me, it sounds something like Halo 5s or Halo Reach, where you just get like
The credits.
1,000, 10,000 EXP for whatever. I don't really like that system because I like getting 1 EXP for 1 win, just like Halo 3 360. Just losing 2 EXP for quitting kept me from quitting. Like,
Oh yeah.
I would never leave. Like, that was on your
neither.
permanent record. Like, I never wanted a Social Slayer game on my record. I stayed out of Social Slayer on 360. Assuming they have a reach style progression system, I don't know what they would need to implement for quit bans, because even now people have problems with their games crashing on the loading screen and they get a ban
That's happened to me.
for quitting.
Yep.
So I don't know what they could implement, honestly.
But that happens to me. I get off the game and I go play something else. If I get banned for something that I didn't even do, I'm gonna go play COD or Madden or something. Like, I'm getting off.
That's a load of shit. Yeah, that's a load of shit, honestly.
It's happened several times to me over the past couple weeks.
And
They've done good. They've done good to work with host booting. They've got rid of a lot of people that were the problem, and they really reduced those numbers. But like, if I get host booted and then I get banned for being host booted,
That's another huge issue.
Like,
yeah.
how does that even happen?
You're gonna tear your hair out, dude. I mean, like, you just got screwed, and you got screwed by someone in matchmaking, and you got screwed by the developer. You know, it's a lose-lose.
Not only do I have to go unplug my router and let it sit for a while, but when I get back on the game, it's going to say that I'm penalized for quitting. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But moving on, though, talk about the vote and veto. So voting was removed in August of 2018 when the update came out. Should voting be reinstated? Furthermore, do you guys prefer veto or voting? Which do you prefer and why?
I'm going to jump on this first, just because I think it goes hand in hand with how the matching system works.
Absolutely.
When you match a team of however many people and you're locked in, do not show the name, because that's going to be the #1 reason why people want to dodge. They see like a pro that they don't want to play. And keep them as players found. Like, you don't know who you're playing, you just want to get a game type that you like. Let the veto happen from that point. So like, you get oddball, you don't want to play it, you veto it, you get Slayer, then you see who you're playing. And that's going to prevent people from wanting to dodge pre-finding out what game they get.
But if dodging
One
is
step
penalized,
above
then what does it
that,
matter?
one step above that is, if you get a game type and veto it, don't show what the next game type is going to be. Just start the game, because you already got your political answer. You're like, I don't want to play oddball. You veto it, everyone vetoes it. It kicks you into the game. Then you're forced to play that game, but you had an opinion on the game type.
Yeah, but what about...
And that will prevent people from dodging.
But, so, here's my thing, though. With objective. Is objective in Team Arena is pretty fucking dog shit. In doubles, it can be pretty bad, too. Well, sometimes. If you get objective and you veto objective, it should be 100% BRs on a random map. And if you veto BRs, it should be objective. It should be all percentage-based, but I think that it should work kind of similar to Halo 3.
To begin with, yeah. To begin with. I think to start with, lower the weighting for objective in both those playlists, because let's be real, most people don't want to play it.
No.
You know, it's different in MLG, I would say, but in those two playlists, you know, you run the risk of playing those niche game types that most people tend to not enjoy. Bones Masood, King of the Hill, Cold Storage. So I do agree in that sense, Tom, that there should be some kind of, you should be able to voice your opinion. You should be able to move on to a different type of game type. I'll be real. In the original Arena playlist that came out in September, August, the weighting for snipers and objective.
Oh my god. Don't even get me started.
That was so absurdly high. It's literally all you played. And the objective had the wrong settings at the time, but that's a different topic. But for that reason, it just, even if there was a voting system in place or a veto system, it wouldn't have mattered. There would have just been way too much snipers and objective. But now that things have changed, make those necessary changes. Give players those options. Personally, the point you posed, Tom, is which is better, veto or vote? I'm going to go with veto. I'm going to go with veto because, to me, in a world where larger party sizes get preferential treatment, because let's be real, the party matching, especially with threes matching anyone, it gives preferential treatment to people searching threes.
Absolutely.
So if there was a voting system,
They're going to vote for objective.
they just vote for objective or vote for whatever they want, and they would get the preferential for that reason. Why not make it a veto where it's not as I want to say biased towards large party sizes?
Yeah.
I preferred the veto system back in the day. Granted, the veto system back then, like you said, you would get some shitty game types. Like let's say you vetoed Snowbound BRs. You didn't want to play Snowbound because that was very common in Team Slayer
You might
4s.
get high ground ARs.
That's exactly what I was thinking. High ground ARs, for example. You could get that. So clean it up. Clean it up. Make it BR starts only like it is. And have that veto system be a polished version of the original that we saw on Halo 3, in my opinion. What do you two think?
And it's present in hardcore, because you got King of the Hill on Construct and you got Guardian Ball, and it's an automatic 15-minute game.
Yep.
And a lot of people get sick of playing, and it's very frequent.
Yeah, people don't want to play those two game types all the time. They want to have that choice.
I would say I would prefer a veto system because, like Legitsky said, parties would search objective just because they say they want to get fast games and rank up. And that's what happened a lot on the old MCC. Like, you would search solo, you'd match a team of 4, and there'd be BRs on pit, but they would vote Heretic Flag just because they would want to get the game over with faster. And
we've all done it. We've all done it.
We have.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to win the game. You would not be able to win the game on Heretic.
Oh, no.
Slayer, you probably could have beat them, but Heretic, there's more of them that are working together. They have set up, and like voting was kind of broken anyways. They say that it was random between the two that were tied, but I think it favored whoever had host that game. Those are just words through the grapevine. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think a veto system would be more ideal.
But you can't have it unless you fix dodging.
Yeah, fix dodging. Seriously.
Yeah.
The issue is when they hid the names on the first update in September, August, when they patched the names or you couldn't see the names, that didn't fix dodging necessarily. It stopped it, but what it did was it put a band-aid on the gunshot wound. You know what I mean? It didn't fundamentally fix the issue.
What I don't understand is, so there has to be something in the code where, like, once a player locks into a lobby, if they disconnect at all, for any reason in that lobby, they should get a loss. I don't see how the fuck that can't be done. I mean,
it couldn't be that complicated.
No, I mean, again, I'm not a game developer. I understand that. I've never developed a game before. I don't know what that entails, and I understand that people are gonna, in the comments, are gonna say, well, you don't know, it's a lot of work, and I get it. Seeing the gamer tag shouldn't even be a thing. Like, if I search and I match Bowser and Chedda, I'm not dodging. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, if the game's fair, if I'm with a teammate who I picked and I match Chedda and Bowser, I'm gonna play the game. Whether I win, lose, draw, it doesn't fucking matter to me. I'm gonna play the game. People shouldn't be intimidated if you match anyone. Like, obviously, if you match B11, there's a pretty good chance you're gonna lose, but if you dodge in the game, you should get the loss. Like, you shouldn't be able to dodge without any repercussions and then search again and then you're fine. That's bullshit.
Yeah. It's called picking and choosing your matches, ladies and gentlemen, and you shouldn't be allowed to do it.
Nope.
You should be able to pick who you play with. You should be able to pick what you play, but you shouldn't be able to pick who you play. You shouldn't be able to decide whether or not you want to have a challenge. That fundamentally destroys competitive matchmaking. It fundamentally destroys it.
100%.
You gotta earn your 50, otherwise go to social.
There you go.
There it is.
You wrap that one up. So the last thing I have on the list is the server allocation. So obviously the server allocation is pretty much random, and it oftentimes it benefits East Coast NA players, specifically US players. So again, it's okay for me, but for people who are on the West Coast of the US or West Coast Europe, even East Coast Europe, it's pretty bad. So my last question is, should MCC return to its peer-to-peer roots with dedicated servers as like a backup option, or what would you guys suggest to alleviate some of the issues that people are having right now with the server locations, the allocation of the servers? What would you guys prefer?
So me personally, I have to admit, I have not been loving the servers lately, and this may be my personal bias because of my location, but my lowest ping to a server is in the 50s. I live in Colorado, so I don't really care if people know that. I live in Colorado. If my lowest ping is to the South US server, that might be a little bit of a problem, So if I could connect to people who are playing on peer-to-peer connection and they have host, like for example, if I connected to Slim Haley's host, who is, relatively close to me, I would be totally fine with that.
You'd probably be on maybe 20, 30 ping?
Exactly. Anyone in my tri-state area or in any surrounding states, really, would put me on a lower ping than connecting to my closest server. And that's way more options. So I personally feel that way. What about you guys?
This one's up in the air for me. I mean,
well, Shadow lives in a great location, as do I, so it's kind of hard for us to say either or. I'm for the majority. I personally believe that peer-to-peer should come back, and I know that people are going to say, well, you just want to bridge host, and you just want to, I mean, yeah, maybe, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, dude, I'm all for the majority, man. Like, I've been talking to European pros. These European players have to play on East US to every fucking game. A lot of you guys are probably American watching this, or from America, Canada, and you guys are gonna say, well, fuck those kids, And yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I hated foreign people. Not them in particular, but like foreign hosts. I couldn't stand it. But now that I'm so blessed to play on these good hosts every game, and I'm playing these foreign people, these guys are having to play on 60, 70, 80, 90 ping. Sometimes, you know, like respectful in that one case, 160 ping. It's unplayable for them. It's a double-edged sword, because I know that a lot of competitive matchmaking players from the US, they're like, fuck those kids, I'm gonna keep playing. Like Bowser's in Virginia, so he's probably, I don't want to say on LAN because he has a shit host or a shit connection, but, you know, like Chedda, for example,
But it benefits him. Like,
oh yeah,
it's funny because it doesn't matter. Like, I can be pinging great to Chicago, but so overall, if I'm, say, 3 hours away from Chicago, connection is to North Central, which is Chicago, and I play someone who's located in Virginia and someone who's in Chicago. My shots register on the kid in Chicago. There's no winning. Like, there's always going to be that one-off player who just has this weird connection to a certain server that you play that you're not going to get any registration on. So, like, that's why I'm up in the air, because I have the best internet that you can buy.
You have 1 gig up and down.
Location, but it's so inconsistent from game to game. But I think that if there's a pure location that is going to benefit the people that are dedicated in that game, then heck yeah, make peer-to-peer a thing. But I have no problems with the servers today.
Yeah, right now ping is king, in my opinion.
For the players who live out in the West Coast, and for like the European players, I think peer-to-peer needs to come back. I think that dedicated servers as like a backup option would be the best bet. I think the best thing that can be done, and again, how host works right now, how the servers are allocated is, it goes off of the party leaders, right? So however many party leaders there are in a game, so if there's 8 people searching in a 4v4 playlist, there's 8 party leaders. If 2 teams of 4 match each other, there's 2 party leaders. Now, if one team is from the UK and one team is from America, the American team seems to get host more often. Why, I don't know, but that's just how it is right now. My thing is, the players from the West Coast are continuously, I mean, from my experience, I'll get West Coast kids in my game, and it's like an East US2 server, Texas. They're never going to be on a good host. Like, Legitsky's never going to be on a good host. 50 ping is pretty much unplayable. I don't want to sound like a ignorant American, and I'm sure a lot of you guys from, like, you know, Europe are watching this, like, 50 ping would be great, but 50 ping really sucks for Halo 3.
Yeah.
And it's just not playable. And he's only pinging 50 ping to one server.
That's my
I mean?
lowest.
Right.
That's my lowest ping.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what you get to East US2 is probably, like, what, 90? 80, 90?
I'm pushing, higher 80s, I think. I checked the other day.
That's unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah, my East US2 is 96. My West US is 43.
How is that playable?
And
Explain
every
that.
server I get is in matchmaking is always US2.
Right,
So
East
when I
US2,
search
right.
Legitsky, sometimes it'll be West.
Right, and the West is, like, not even great for you guys. It really isn't. 40 ping is not great. Dude, I play on 9 ping on my server, my local server, but
Oh my god.
even, but see, here's the thing. Even on that, like, and again, I can't prove this, so I'm gonna, it's like my tinfoil hat, but I feel like shots register better on peer-to-peer hosts than they do on servers. I can't prove it, but prior to the August 2018 update, that's how I felt. Last month, they had disabled the servers, and it was like a peer-to-peer backup. I was playing during that time. My shots fucking counted. I was like, what the fuck? Like, the host was kind of delayed, but my shots were counting. On the servers, I just feel like it's like a fucking toss-up. I think that the servers, I think they, you know, peer-to-peer should come back, but like Chedda said, it's hard to complain when you live in our area because, you know, I ping 9 to my local server. I ping like 35 to East US2. I ping 50 to Texas. I ping 65 to California. Regardless, I mean, I'm kind of on a good connection. But for you guys, I do feel for you guys.
I'm still going to say, though, it is inconsistent. Even if I got North Central every game, if you play enough, you know how shots register. It is inconsistent. Other people are pinging to the server.
Yep.
Yeah, like Tom said, it's hard to explain, but if you've played enough, you understand and you notice the small details. You notice that kind of stuff. You can't clip it and you can't put it on a thread and say, look, it's different. You just understand when you play.
I would love to see the game go back to peer-to-peer. I know for a lot of people who benefit from these servers, like me and Chedda and people who live near a server, you guys probably don't want to see that, but for the greater good, I think that that's what it should be. I think we should go back to peer-to-peer and give people the opportunity to play on a good host, because playing on 50 ping, the lowest ping that these two get, Legitsky and Slim Haley get, are 50. That's not fucking playable. I'm sorry. And Europeans who are subjected to the East US2 server every game, that is not playable. 90 ping is not playable. I'm sorry.
Agreed. And
Simple as that.
it goes back to something you said fundamentally, which really actually got me into your videos to begin with. When I was in college, I didn't even have an Xbox. I didn't have an Xbox, and I was watching your videos, and it really got me thinking, because you said something. You said matchmaking should affect everyone, and it's true. People should not have severe handicaps in matchmaking.
No.
Based off of external factors. So I understand if you live close to a server, that's great. Probably played on some amazing connection the last few months, but it doesn't affect everyone equally. So it's a problem for that reason.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. LChedda8, if I bridged him host, his host would be better than probably most of these fucking servers for everybody. He has a 1 gig up and down connection. People with fiber should be host over these servers. But like the servers, like they're inconsistent. You know, I don't know if it's like a high load on the servers. I don't know if like they're being used for other games or services, but dude, LChedda has a 1 gig connection. People with fiber in the US and around the world should be host.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't MCC share servers with Halo 5, or am I incorrect?
I don't know if they share the same exact servers, but I can tell you right now that the server locations are the same. I know that because I played it and I tested it. The server IP ranges they're all the same. They use the Microsoft Azure servers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So they're in the same location. So I would imagine they're probably the same. I couldn't tell you. I could be wrong. So.
What you said about bridging Chedda host, having Chedda have host in matchmaking games is true. I've played on a lot of 1 gig internet hosts like LChedda8, Vader, our friend Cryptic. They all have 1 gig internet.
Cryptic got a LAN host. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's crazy. If you've played on it, it's just like playing on LAN almost, in certain situations. But some of these servers, man, the consistency is just not there.
No, it's not. And another thing too, I'm going to bring up in the video is that relay server in Washington. I found a way to block it, and I gave the IP to some of the Europeans who were having trouble with it because Respectful made a video, which I'm going to link in the video description, highlighting this because he has the same router as I do. He loaded into a game, and it said East US 2, but he was connecting to Washington State. And that's unacceptable because the guy, that's across the country, completely across the country. So that was ridiculous. He highlighted it in the video, and I showed him how to block it. If you guys have any questions, I could answer the questions and show you how to block it. But if you guys ever wonder why you get on a server and it feels laggy as fuck or doesn't feel normal, it's probably because you're being routed to Washington State for whatever. I don't know why they do it. I really don't. It makes no sense. But it
doesn't make it.
But you can block the IP and that won't happen again. Okay, guys, so that was the end of the video. I just wanted to kind of do a little outro. I didn't want to just end with that. It just was kind of weird. So, yeah, like I said, make sure you guys check the video description. There's going to be links down there. LChedda8 made a post on Halo Waypoint with the intention of trying to bring back the vanilla version of Halo 3 doubles. So if you guys do support that cause, make sure you guys go on Halo Waypoint, support it, post a comment, etc. And like I said in the intro of this video, make sure you guys let me know what you guys think about this type of video. I know it's a little bit longer. You guys are used to seeing like 4-minute videos from me. But if this round robin type of video format is interesting to you, let me know. That way I can do more in the future. So yeah, as always, make sure you guys like, favorite, comment, subscribe. Love you guys. Peace.